Hey there guys, welcome back to Let's Play Danganronpa V3. Before we continue this, I need to have a discussion, and this may take a second, so I apologize to begin with. I've had this discussion a lot in my Discord, I've had it in comments, but I kind of want to officially have it for all of you guys that are watching, because I think it's kind of important, and it sort of explains a lot of the frustration I'm currently feeling. I don't dislike the game, but I'm angry at the game, if that makes sense. So, okay. This is going to let me take you back in time until about the 1880s. In the 1880s, there was a genre of fiction that was forming that we now know as the golden age of detective stories. It was pioneered by, a lot of authors, most famously probably Agatha Christie, and it was kind of hallmarked as it was almost more of a game than it was a novel. You weren't actually necessarily following a plot through. It was traditionally set in a isolated area, be it like a country mansion or like famously the Orient Express at one point. But the big thing that had to happen was that you had to have a group of characters that for one reason or another were geographically isolated and only able to interact with each other. You couldn't like go to the police, you couldn't get to the outside, you couldn't actually you had to solve the situation with the same cast beginning to end. And some of you obviously are like, wow, that sounds like Danganronpa. And that's not an accident. I'm very severely convinced that, yes, it is meant to be Danganronpa by virtue of the fact that because no one likes to say the golden age of detective stories in a conversation very often, that's really, really long. What people say instead is they will describe this as the whodunit books or whodunit novels. And of course, whenever Monokuma is explaining how to use the class trials...
Now then, let's begin with the basic explanation of the class trial. During the trial, you'll present your arguments for who the culprit is and vote for who done it.
He will specifically say that we're trying to find out who done it, and he even puts that term in quotes. So I am absolutely convinced that the writers of this are indicating that yes, the Danganronpa series is sort of meant to be in the same vein as the golden age of detective stories. For those of you that wonder, the game Clue is based upon the same concept. So what does all that stuff to do with anything? Why does this make me upset? Well, there's two reasons that this makes me frustrated. One is very pedantic and doesn't matter, but it kind of leads into the second one. The first is that back in the 1920s, a guy named Richard Knox, who was a representative of the London Detective Society, kind of sat down and, codified the rules of the game. Because again, these, whodunit books weren't really so much novels as they were actual games. You're supposed to read them and try and solve the mystery along with the detective and see if you could figure it out before the reveal happened at the end. It was very, very different from like the modern day hard-boiled mysteries, which are much more about, hey, let's go ahead and walk through this investigation with this detective, because a lot of it has to do, the detective is a character, he has a backstory, there's a personal growth and things. Back then, there was none of that. It was purely about, here's the situation, here is the evidence, here's the detective found this and this and this. And it's a self-contained module more than an actual like cohesive narrative to a certain degree. So in these rules that Richard Knox set out, one of them specifically says, and to clarify, in college, I was a creative writing minor, so I was very familiar with this concept in playing the Danganronpa games. And one of them says that the investigator cannot be the murderer. So, to a certain degree, that's why I got so, and I'm still a little frustrated that Kaede ended up being the murderer. Because if you're going to set up your game and call out to the fact that, hey, we envision our game as being part of this genre, you can't violate one of the codified rules of that genre. That's the rule set by which the game is played. And the second reason, though, because that's really just like, okay, well, I made an assumption. I don't think it was a wrong assumption. I think there was a lot of evidence that said that, yes, this is what the games are trying to be, and up until now, they've always followed the rule set. But, okay, I made an assumption it was wrong, move on with life. The second reason I'm frustrated by this is a much, much more relevant and bigger reason. And that is that there's a scene that happens where right after Shuichi gets the signal goes off, he runs out, and you're with Kaede, and Kaede drops her things and runs after him. Now, of course, now we know that when by drops her things, she actually means, part of that is she went over to the air duct, she got out the shot put ball, and she dropped the shot put ball down the air duct. However, what frustrates me is that, again, we are in the room with Kaede when that happens, and the game makes no mention of that. It leaves it intentionally vague so as not to give away the mystery. The trouble with that is that now this puts me in a position where I have to second guess every single thing that the game is going to show, because they have now shown themselves as being willing to effectively outright lie to the player. A good example of this is in going into this trial. Is it? One second. I have forgotten his name. In going into this trial. Wait, I just passed him. Yeah, it is Ryoma. In going into this trial, I said that Ryoma was my backup suspect if it turned out that Gonto was not actually the person that did it. Because even though I didn't see any way for Ryoma to have gotten down there, he at least would have enough skill to get the shot put ball around the barrier, because he's the ultimate tennis pro. My big problem with thinking it could be Ryoma is that we were staking out the hallway and we never saw Ryoma go by. However, if I were to try and analyze this crime now, I would have to be like, well, Ryoma has the means to actually do this killing. I don't know. We were watching the hallway and it didn't mention him going by, but you know what? The game just sometimes doesn't tell you things it should. The fact that there's no indication Ryoma went by doesn't mean anything, because the game is simply willing to omit information that you by all rights should be aware of based on where you are. And it's super, super, super frustrating. Again, not to belabor the point, but it's just, we are effectively in a room with Kaede. Kaede walks over to the air duct, drops a shot put ball down a vent, and the game makes no mention of that. It intentionally omits information that we should have based on where we are when the actions are committed. The entire point of Danganronpa, the entire point of detective fiction, is to go through your various information, the physical evidence you collect, reconstruct the crime scene, talk to people, hear their explanations, compare their explanations against the physical evidence, try and find if you can, piece together what happened, determine if what they're saying makes sense. If not, analyze that a little bit farther, find out, are they lying to you intentionally? It's a lot of, but it's all based upon the fact that the physical evidence you have is immutable. Unless someone is actually, tampering with the evidence, which is a thing that can happen. But the stuff you collect should be pretty reliable. And so the fact that the game is now willing to misrepresent the collection phase and have you in a situation where what you see is not what actually happened, it kind of makes it, I almost feel like going forward in future trials, I'm just going to have to ignore everything that happens and only go off of the truth bullets. Because the truth bullets are the only things that matter. What I see doesn't matter. If anything that's out there, if I can't find a truth bullet to back it up, I just have to assume that the game is incorrect. The truth bullets are the only thing I can go by. And none of the previous trials were ever like that. None of the previous trials actually had information that the game had you see that was incorrect. Every once in a while, there'd be assumptions that your characters would make that proved to be incorrect, such as the, two towers thing in the second game. But it was never a case where a character took an action in front of you, but the game didn't tell you about that. So I'm sorry to go on. I've spent 10 minutes sort of ranting about this, but this frustrates me quite a bit, because it really and truly undermines my ability to enjoy this game. I'm really hoping that now that we've apparently switched over to being Shuichi, that we'll have a much more normal Danganronpa game going forward, because I'm not upset that the game tricked me. I'm upset that the game tricked me by intentionally feeding me incorrect information. You know, it would be fine if the game had simply, you know, if I just had a blind spot and didn't consider Kaede. That would frustrate me a little bit because it would be a violation of those rules, but I could get over it. But the fact that the game had me in the room with Kaede when she dropped the ball and didn't tell me about it, because honestly, you know, I did consider the possibility that Shuyuichi might be the killer. I did consider the possibility of dropping that shot put ball. That's why whenever it was first introduced in the trial, I was like, but the vent's in the wrong place. That's not where the vent is, because they showed an image and they had this little like purple thing down by the door. And I was like, that's not where the vent is. I looked at that. And I was very, and then they went on and I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Because I hadn't thought about making a path with the books because obviously, like I said, I was considering it from Shuyuichi's possibility. I did reject that because when I looked back at it, I said, well, no, Kaede was in there the entire time. There's no way Shuyuichi could have done it. But if it had just been a case of, oh, it's actually Kaede, haha, we fooled you, that would have been fine. They could have pulled it off too. All they really needed to do was have the first chapter, instead of being Kaede's chapter, go through Kaede, then jump and have a section with Shuyuichi, then jump and have Miyu have a section, then jump and have someone else have a section, you know, but go through a couple of different characters. And so as things are happening, whenever the like sensor goes off, jump to Shuyuichi, have him run out of the room and go down there because he's where the action is. And you've already established that the narrative isn't about any one character. You will follow where the action is. Slight spoiler for Heavy Rain. Actually, I guess not slight. Actual spoiler for Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain has a bunch of different characters, and they end up pulling off something like this, but I never cared about that because they at least established that you weren't, there wasn't one focal character. That, you know, there was going to be multiple different guys running around. And so the idea of having to consider someone other than that it could be one of your four characters, okay, I accepted that. Here, though, they kept with the character, but they withheld the information of what she was doing. And I'm just rambling now. I'm sorry. As you can tell, it frustrates me quite a bit. Don't like it. But that's where I consider this a little bit of a ball drop. I consider this, I don't think they handled that right. Like I said, if they had gone between multiple characters pretty often, they could have had us leave that scene, and it would have been completely understandable that Kaede could take an action we weren't aware of. But the fact they kept us in that room and just didn't tell us about it is stupid. The moment it was over... Wait, I'm Shuyuichi. The moment it was over, I felt my legs give out from under me. What I saw, it just didn't feel real. As if all reality had vanished and was the only thing left was a fictional world. Real or not, though, Kaede was gone. Kaede Akamatsu no longer existed in our world. That also, actually, that reminds me, completely other topic. I have been thinking a little bit about what the overall plot of this could be. And the fact is, again, we keep seeing that Kaede was wearing like one of those mental one of those brainwashing helmets in the real quick flash through at the beginning. And you actually see it in the intro video as well. I have to almost wonder if Ultimate Despair is trying to re-brainwash their people from Danganronpa 2. And since they've lost their memories, they are putting them in a situation. I almost feel like that they put them through a simulation and none of them would betray each other because they were best friends. So now they're putting them through a simulation where they're strangers just to see what they would do. So I have to wonder if, like, all of these characters are actually the figments of one another's, you know, if this is actually the cast of Danganronpa 2, and like Junko is trying to turn them back into Ultimate Despairs by having them live through this. That may also be why when Kaede died, it did shift focus back to Shuichi. Because if so, that makes sense. When one person dies, they don't get out of the simulation. They have to go through it entirely, and the focus will simply shift to a different character. Eh? What? Why is Mono Kid? Mono, what have you done? She puked again!
Oh, well.
This tension ain't so bad, you know? Finally feels like a proper killing game. I have to wonder if one of the Mono Kids will die every trial, and then Trial 6 traditionally is the trial against Monokuma. If anything, we can stand to use a little more attention in our lives, right, Dad?
No! My sweet darling Mono Kid claimed his collateral damage! This is a nightmare! This is unacceptable! My precious cub is... Well, on second thought, I guess it's okay. After all, I've still got 4 other cubs. I'm glad you kids came in bulk. Huh? It's okay?
I'm shocked. Our existence means that little, huh?
Well, what's done and done. What's dead is dead. No point crying over crushed cubs. Unless you want to end up like these sad sacks.
But how?
What? What in the world is this?
Really?
Are you fucking kidding me? Talk about overkill.
Amen.
Atua, please grant Kaede's soul eternal repose. I can't believe this happened to Kaede. I liked her so much. Is he ever going to learn that crying like that just immediately tells people he's lying?
Yahoo!
Now this adrenaline creates such exquisite feeling of despair. Moments like this that make all the killings worth it.
This is...
But why are you doing such terrible thing?
How dare you?
You're the worst of the worst. Does human life have no value to you at all?
Hey,
I know human life is precious, and I'm not a monster, you know. So if human life wasn't precious, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun.
extreme!
There's no greater joy than witnessing such a display of despair entertainment.
You surpass psychotic by a wide margin.
What now?
I don't think I've ever felt quite this irritated. Yeah, I won't forgive you for this. You got that? I'm not ever gonna. Again, who cares?
Oh!
Spoken like a marked man.
Excuse me.
What is your objective, Monokuma?
What are you trying to pull?
Again, that is the golden question, and I believe it has to do again with the brainwashing. I think these are simulations. Because I don't know what that... Because we know that they're playing fast and loose and giving and taking away memories, which only makes sense if they have a machine hooked up to their brains. Do you hate us? If so, have we done something to make you hate us?
Hate you? Who can say?
Hey,
That's your job to figure out. If you really want to know what's going on, you're gonna have to work for it.
well...
Through the corpse formerly known as Rentaro may have had a hunch.
Oh, that's interesting.
Huh? What is it?
Well, Rantaro did bring up the ultimate hunt. So that may mean that Monokuma just hates ultimates in general.
What indeed?
That is...
He did say he would end this game, and he also knew about the hidden door. Could it be that that's related to this hunch you claim he had?
I wonder.
Why, you...
Hey, so what the hell is hunch you're going on about? Spill it! It's pretty obvious he's not going to spill it, Miyu.
Then...
Well, if you have no intention of telling us, then kindly keep your mouth shut.
Cuz...
You're focusing on Kaede instead of our deadweight victim.
Well...
Well, it's not his fault he was useless. He died before his talent could be revealed. If he had lived long enough to reveal it, maybe he would have been more useful.
Too bad.
Oh well, he's dead and that's that. That's the indifference of death. That's the justice of the grave.
However,
He wasn't really the mastermind, was he?
You're really bugging me.
Are you still pestering me with these annoying questions?
And another thing.
And aren't you guys focusing a little too much on whether or not there's a mastermind? If you keep this up, you're all gonna end up like Kaede.
What?
Here.
Maybe spend less time worrying about nonsense and more time watching your back. Okay.
Right?
You never know who's gonna become the next killer.
Looking forward to
I
it.
can't wait. Wonder what kind of killing game we might get to see next.
Damn it, you may have gotten us this time, but we'll get you next time. You'll see.
Why?
Why are you all psyched up?
That's nice.
It's nice to see at least one of you has some chutzpah around here. I have a feeling you're gonna live for a while.
Thanks.
don't screw around.
Shut the hell up. We're not gonna have another killing game. I, Kaito Momota, am not gonna let you have your way anymore. Got it? I'm gonna punch that grin right off your face for sure.
Is that so?
Oh, really? Well, that seems unlikely.
Too bad.
I'm pretty sure you won't live long enough to do that.
Damn.
Well...
Anyway, you guys have a lot to think about. Work hard and do your best to graduate, because the fun's only just begun.
Hey,
Monodam, explain yourself. I get that Monokid was obnoxious and rude, but this is way over the line. Monodam.
Because.
I did it for us, like Kaede.
Wait, Monodam.
Where are you going?
It's getting interesting.
Probably getting him killed to payback for all the bullying. What an interesting turn of events. I really wish I had the ability to teleport by turning around. That's a useful tool. I don't think I can take all this. I feel like I can't stand this anymore. I feel like I'm going to go crazy.
no.
Samuki, you mustn't give up hope. Is there even hope to be had here? This room feels utterly drained of it. Kaede! What kind of public you do that mail? Cries in public! It's so rude! But, Tinko, you're crying too.
Hey,
Now's not the time to point that out, Kibo. Just let it be.
Prayer time.
In times like this, we should pray to Kaede's soul so she can rest in peace.
What?
But how is she supposed to rest in peace after getting killed like that?
I don't know.
What are we gonna do from now on? Yeah, I'd like to know too. I'm so over this already. The disquiet stillness after an execution.
that's enough!
Just shut up, shut up. You all need to just shut up. Keto's voice blew through the air, and the room went silent.
Damn.
Every single one of you and your meek little complaints.
Shut
You're
up!
pissing me the hell off.
Damn it.
But the one that's pissing me off the most
Dumbass.
is you, Shuichi.
Huh?
Dude, don't punch people.
Clench your teeth!
Kaito?
Kaito! You are supposed to say that before you hit him.
Kibo, that's not the point.
Did you hear what Kaede said? She said she believed in you. That she passed her wish on to you.
I think Kaito's slightly jealous. I think that the fact that as her dying thing, Kaede singled out Shuichi, and Kaito's like, "Argh."
But what the hell's wrong with you? You didn't say a damn thing to Monokuma. You call yourself a man?
You don't beat Monokuma by yelling at him. You beat him by outsmarting him.
Damn it.
What's the matter? Say something already.
Dumbass.
I just hit you. Aren't you pissed off? What is your problem? You're more of a robot than the robot. Enough, Kaito. Sucker punching is pretty low, even for a low-level degenerate male like you.
Listen up.
Better knock it off or I'll explode my Neo Keto all over your face.
Are you okay?
Shuichi, are you okay? I hate when they say the entire line except the first word. Come on.
Okay. For now.
This sort of altercation is just a waste of time. Go to not sure a waste of time, but go to agree. Fighting is not for gentlemen.
Then
Can we leave now? Staying here will only make us more depressed. Well put. I agree wholeheartedly.
Sorry.
So, you all should go ahead without me. What? Is there a reason you want to stay in a place like this? I just want to be alone for a while. Just for a little bit. But we just can't we can't just leave you here by your...
no.
Samugi? Perhaps it would be best if we allowed him some privacy for now. Shuichi, don't beat yourself up, okay?
Yeah.
Just hit the reset button on your feelings. You'll be happy and cheerful in no time.
Listen.
Being a tad insensitive is important for survival. It helps one avoid suicidal thoughts.
Hey!
Gunter will go back too. Let Gunter know if you need his help, okay? I'm so dumb. I was like, where is Shuichi? Oh wait, I'm Shuichi now.
I mean,
Shuichi, I don't know how well you knew Kaede. Why don't you try going to her ultimate lab?
Huh?
That's right.
I'm gonna set the room up, so there's probably not a lot there to remember her by. There should be at least a bunch of little things she liked.
Okay.
Listen up.
Understand? There's only one way to get through this awful. It's interesting that he like has so poor self-control that he had to punch Shuichi, and then I think now he's realizing that he handled that wrong, and he's trying to extend an olive branch, but he doesn't know how. I was gonna be able to console you if you're just sitting here alone.
I mean,
Anyone's gonna help you. It's gonna be her and your memories. Before I realized it, I got to my feet. I just started walking, and I was headed towards the Ultimate Pianist Research Lab. I've never actually been in this room. I realized that when the trial started. It's not as if there would be any memories here. But these are the things she was really passionate about. And that's... well, it's good enough for now. What a magnificent piano. I would have liked to hear her play it, if only just once. Oh, that song Kaede was talking about. Sit in front of the shelves of CDs and search each one thoroughly, end to end. It should be here somewhere. Where was it? Kaede brought up a lot of songs. I'm not exactly sure which song you're referring to. Here it is. This is it. The CD from the shelf. Place the piano in the corner. Or place the player in the corner. So which song is it? My body relaxed, totally enveloped in the music. It was a strange feeling, a sound seeping into my body. Before long, I began to close my eyes.
I wish there was a piano here. I would play you a song to help you cheer up. A pretty song to play for you. Oh, like Clair de Lune by Debussy.
Something of the moon.
It's a soothing song that calms your heart, like the moon's reflection on water.
Okay, that's right. I remember it was a moon water, I couldn't remember exactly.
You noticed, huh? Yeah, I'm shaking too. But I'd be a mess if you weren't here.
I still wish she had just taken the... I understand why she couldn't, but... man, I mean, just she died for literally no reason.
I wouldn't have been able to do anything. I would have been so lost.
I do have to say, and I'm a little bit hesitant to say this, but I absolutely feel like Kaede is the best main character the series has had. She is so sympathetic, and she is so direct, and, you know, to a certain degree, Hinata and Makoto were very, 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 or not Hinata, wow, whoops, Hajime and Makoto were very, very, very similar in their approach. They were almost but not quite the same character. Shuichi is similar to them in that he's very, very soft-spoken and very much an observer, but he's also the ultimate detective, so that makes sense. But Kaede she brought a sense of life that not the series has seemed dead, but the protagonists have always been the least interesting characters in their respective stories. And Kaede was really, really interesting. And I kind of wish Shuichi had died and Kaede had survived, because I'm not really thrilled with Shuichi just yet.
I'm glad you're here with me, Shuichi. With you by my side, I feel like I can stand up to anything. You give me the courage I need to take on the Mastermind. So please, be more confident.
Yeah, that is the big... I get it's a character arc for him, but I'm already tired of his meekness.
I believe in you, so you should definitely believe in yourself.
Like, I definitely don't want him to be cocky, but, you know, Naoto was never cocky, but she also wasn't timid, and he's timid. And again, I totally understand why, especially right now he needs to be timid based on his personality and based on his history and based on what just happened. But oh, I hope this isn't something that he has to wait until chapter 6 before he finally stands up for himself. I want this character growth to happen relatively, you know, I don't want it to take all damn game.
Yeah, I'll try. I don't know if I can do it, but no, I'll do it. I have to believe in myself. I won't be afraid anymore. I will face the truth for everyone.
You can do it, my friend. High five.
I won't give up. For your sake, Kaede. I promise.
Oh, the song ended. Oh, there it is.
From the bottom of my heart, I promise you, Kaede.
It's also interesting. This is one of the truest personal connections that's ever been in a Danganronpa game. They've really stepped up their storytelling. As much as I spent...
That's our promise. I'm leaving everything up to you, Shuichi.
As much as I kind of bitched about the first trial for the first 10 minutes of this episode, I do have to give respect to the game. They're doing a much better job with characterization. And they always had good characterization before, but this is powerful.
Goodbye.
$14 remain. A musical note hairpin. And with that, I will save and end this episode because we are at 31 minutes. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. Sorry I spent the first hit, but you know, I needed to say that. I needed to kind of express, and you know, to a certain degree, I think you guys specifically come because I really analyze stuff, and that required analyzation, and it's been on my mind for a lot. So I can now talk about it, close the book on it, move on with the game, because I still like this game. Do not think for a second that I'm just I'm so angry at this game and this game is painful garbage. Because no, I disagree with how they did that, but I still respect the game. I want to keep playing it, and I will. So I'll see you guys tomorrow when we continue playing it.
Danganronpa.